Court to Court, your connection to what's happening in the federal courts around the country, providing information and ideas to enhance your job and how the courts function.
Welcome to Court, the Federal Judicial Center's educational magazine program for court employees. Today we learn about a program that adds a different dimension to helping those on supervised release find employment. It's no surprise that U.S. Probation and Pretrial Services offices work diligently to ensure employment of those on supervised release post-conviction. Employment is a paramount factor in reducing recidivism. But an education component to workforce development is perhaps not quite so common. To reduce unemployment and recidivism in the Northern District of Florida, Chief U.S. Probation Officer Anthony Castellano invited his officers to volunteer to explore other districts' programs or to come up with ideas of their own to better help those on supervised release. What began as a workforce development idea grew to include any helpful programs because of Castellano's interest in the possibilities if there were few constraints on his officers' imagination or creativity.
I believe that the best ideas don't come from the administration. It comes from the line. It comes from officers that are in the field. They're doing the work every day.
Probation Officer Brian Jansen responded to his chief's call for ideas by visiting several districts with strong community-oriented workforce development programs.
It's one thing to sit there and say, well, you know, as a probation officer, hey, I want you to go be productive. But it's another thing for me to say, I'm going to help you become productive.
When you have dedicated staff and you basically ask that they go out and do the research and what will make their lives easier to do their work, you'll get the ideas.
Jansen organized a program he calls STEP, Strategies to Enhance Progress. He meets every week with those seeking employment to give them up-to-date information, to help them actively look for jobs, and to verify that they are looking.
And I'm going to have you guys turn in your job search sheets here in just a second. But make sure that your folder or whatever you have with you today has the most current job lead, which is dated at the very top.
Jansen prepares an extensive packet of information and resources for each client. The material also is available on the Probation Office's website.
But before I look at your job search sheets, let's talk about Skanska. So did you make it down there yet to the office?
But in addition to employment, STEP promotes education too.
If somebody is on the education track, they're not required to come to the weekly meetings, so they end up meeting with Larry on a one-on-one basis.
That would be Larry Hutchison, a retired Florida Department of Education official whom Jansen met by chance at a gathering of community agencies.
He helps them with their financial aid, their school enrollment, everything.
We have 2 living individuals here that are in school right now doing something you can do. It's just a matter of whether you want to do it.
And he brought something that we really didn't have. And that was someone who understood the education piece. And he brought with him an understanding of obstacles that these individuals may have.
I take people that never thought they would go to school for a couple of reasons. Many of them think that a felon can't go to school. Most of them had no way to pay for school, and they didn't have a good school experience.
For clients interested in schooling, Larry first has them take something called Tests of Adult Basic Education, TABE for short. It's proprietary material, and most vocational schools require a certain score on such a test.
I went through training to become licensed, and I give it here, usually one-on-one in a written form. I hand score that. The testing company will give you a scoring template. They also had a lot of study materials that I have.
Then there's the problem of paying for schooling. Hutchison assured the probation officers that there are ways to help with that.
Even a felon is eligible for something called a Pell Grant. Not only are they eligible for a Pell Grant, they're actually eligible for 6 Pell Grants.
Pell Grants are made by the federal government to students with financial need who do not have a bachelor's degree. Currently, a full grant is about $5,900.
It takes approximately 15 minutes to sign up for a Pell Grant. It's all done online. And the vast majority of our folks are eligible for all of it. But then we sign them up for the other grant called Workforce Investment Act money.
Workforce Investment Act grants are another federal program. This one administered by state and local agencies to improve employment and the workforce.
Over the course of the last couple of years, our folks have actually been fortunate enough to receive $325,000 plus in grants, which will never have to be paid back if they finish.
So far, 22 clients have successfully completed or are currently participating in the education track of the STEP program.
At the end of them completing their program, you have someone who completed a program and is debt-free. Larry also brings a lot of patience and compassion and understanding.
I meet with them, work with them to understand what possibilities are there, and talk about how they could actually go to school and get a career. And I've had a lot of jobs, but I've never had a job with almost instant outcomes. And this job is very, very close to that.
He has really come to understand and appreciate the difficulties that that population faces when it comes, specifically when it comes to getting a job/career.
We spend a lot of time talking about when they were growing up, when they were even incarcerated, what did they do? And out of that, try to narrow some things down that would be of interest to them.
We're not here just to help a person find a job. We're here to help them build a career.
Hutchison assists those in the education track to enroll at one of 2 nearby vocational schools or at the local state college.
They're getting released from prisons after being incarcerated for 10 plus years. They have absolutely no idea of what the outside world is. Technology has left them behind, and so it's kind of scary for them.
They're embarrassed to even say, I don't know how to do that. So each of the steps to get into school, I'm right there with them.
The STEP program offers us a way to say, come into this program, get an education, learn the new technology that's out there, or if you learn a skill in prison, say welding, some culinary work, we can find employment for them in that field.
Key ingredients of what makes STEP successful are building and maintaining relationships between the probation office and its community partners.
Because if the schools are not receptive to who we're sending them and what we expect from the school, this is not going to work.
It's basically telling the community, take a chance on these individuals that are coming out, put them to work, give them a chance in school.
I like to go out there and knock on doors and meet with these employers in person rather than just calling them on the phone. I have a good relationship with those employers. So they know that if I send somebody to them, that I've vetted them, that they're complying with the rules of their supervision, they're in my program, and then also vice versa. I know that if the person's not doing well on the job, that employer will call me.
Among the client's responsibilities is a signed agreement that while applying for or enrolled in school, if they test positive for any illegal drug, they will be removed from school for 90 days.
If Brian and Larry have a case that they feel is struggling in the program, they may call me in to talk with that case, to counsel with that case, and see what the main issue is, why they just aren't going to seek employment, why they're not doing well in school.
The district also contracts with a local counseling agency to help with clients.
So it's not like we kick them out of the program. It's not like we pull them out and forget them. We do pull them out, but we attempt to use that situation as just another positive way to work with them to get them through how they got in trouble to begin with.
to show them if you work, if you go to school and get an education, the chances of you succeeding, of getting the things that you want in life, is going to be better for you than if you just go down the same way that you were thinking before that ended you in prison, ended you incarcerated.
I rely heavily upon the individual's PO, to help me if there are issues, if there are missed appointments. If there's a missed appointment, I don't contact the individual. Their probation officer does.
If we deal with this issue now and the individual gets it right and they understand this, I've got to do this, I've got to go to school, I've got to do that, it's going to pay off in the long run.
For these officers, the long run means seeing their clients successfully employed and completing supervised release so that they're productive members of the community. The district has had measurable success with its STEP program, and in the second part of our report, we'll learn the ingredients for that success. For those in the education track of the STEP program, the amount of time they participate varies depending on their field of study or whether they're full or part-time students, and on whether they're seeking an associate or bachelor's degree. But upon successful completion, there's always graduation.
Larry and I do attend their graduations at their schools, and we always enjoy that. But it's very important that we bring them in here and we do our own graduation.
We truly believe that what you do not only benefits you, but it benefits those that are going to be released from prison, that are in our halfway houses today, and may have just gotten released. You set the tone.
Jansen emphasizes the importance of graduation attendance by all STEP participants, by their family members, by the probation office staff and managers, by community partners, and the court's judges, which on this day included District Chief Judge Casey Rogers.
You all are the best and most shining example of why it is important and worthwhile for federal courts to start these types of programs.
Family members and community partners had the opportunity to offer their encouragement.
So this phase of your life is ending, but your career phase is beginning. And I say, go for it with gusto. Go out there with enthusiasm. Take what you know. Hone your skills. Get better and better and better.
Each graduate spoke also.
Long after I'm off probation, I hope that the three of them are still in my life because they're my heroes. And thank y'all for coming today.
It just really showed that all my hard work was recognized. I mean, I knew that I did good. It's been really exciting, but just to hear my instructor and my probation officer and just, what it's meant to them was just amazing to me.
Ainsley, congratulations. As you know, we're going to sit here and brag on you for a few minutes.
It means for me that I wasn't by myself and that I did have a support team behind me.
It was so new to some of these participants that have been in the system for so long that they never had someone say, we're going to help you get a job once they were released, or we're going to help you get an education once they were released. And you could tell it was very refreshing for them.
They always tell me that, I'm the one that did all the hard work. But if it wasn't for them giving me the opportunity and having the faith in me to go forward with this opportunity for the education and, like I say, recreate myself, I would have never been able to do it without them.
Chief Castellano says the biggest initial challenge to launching STEP was getting buy-in from the stakeholders and officers. And he credits Jansen with making that happen.
He went out and he established those relationships with all of the stakeholders, with the halfway house, with the vocational centers, with some of the employers that ended up hiring some of our folks.
As both the employment and the education tracks proved successful, STEP moved from a pilot project to office policy.
We'll pilot something, and if it works, then that's where the justification comes in to make some changes in our structure. We lowered Brian's caseload, and because we've already made the steps to hire more officers, it wasn't a burden on the other officers in the office.
The commitment has to be there, obviously, from the administration, from the staff, and obviously most importantly the people running the program.
You know, anybody can say, you know, I'm 100% behind that, and blah, blah, blah. And words are easy to say, but the proof's in the pudding.
What helped us was being transparent and presenting the data to the staff. We went from a double-digit unemployment rate to a 2% unemployment rate here in Pensacola and 2.2% overall in the district.
We couldn't be more proud than we are of this program, and I say that on behalf of all of the judges of our court. And thanks also to the community partners. As good as these guys are and as committed and dedicated and passionate as they are, this program wouldn't work without you all.
I do believe that it can be duplicated, and it may not necessarily be someone from your organization hiring someone like a Larry. It could be an outside contractor or vendor or school.
Unless you're willing to employ someone that has a background in education and is willing to work with these individuals and able to communicate to them that you are what you are and we're going to work well together.
Really, it's thinking outside the box. You know, maybe going to your local college where you want these individuals to attend or vocational program and see who they have. You know, do they have a guidance counselor that can play that role?
But it's building a rapport with the probation officers. It's building a rapport with the folks that I work with.
And I can't tell you how many times Larry's helped individuals that have wanted to drop out, have wanted to stop what they just felt overwhelmed, and Larry was able to bring them back on track.
To create a similar program, Castellano's advice is to pursue multiple options, including having workforce development officers explore what's being done in other districts.
Explore what it means to get the funding. How do you get the funding? How do you fill out the paperwork for the WIA grants, for the Pell grants? Who can do the tape test for individuals coming out? If your officers have the buy-in and they're motivated, they're going to do the work. We're addressing a direct risk that these individuals have when they come out of prison.
And they're going to open your mind up, like I said, like, look, man, you can do this, you can do that. And you're like, oh yeah, and you're going to start believing more in yourself, and then stuff going to just start, coming to you, just being patient.
Someone that's on supervision, turning their life around and being successful and being a productive member of society. I mean, that to me is the most important, simple concept that we can try to address and focus on. I really enjoyed it. It's been the best thing I've ever done in my career.
What's happening with these men and women can happen in any probation office.
If you'd like more information about the Northern District of Florida's STEP program and how the office makes it work, contact Chief Probation Officer Anthony Castellano at the phone number or email address on the screen. We appreciate your watching this program and hope you found it useful. If you have comments about it, or if you have ideas for other topics you'd like us to cover, please contact our producer, David Colm, at the address on the screen. Thank you again for watching.